On today's episode, I'm going to talk about the 5 relationship termites. And by termites, I mean, well, you know what termites do? They eat the framework of your house until the house is weak and comes crashing down. Number 1, a relationship termite is if you are holding on to things from the past and you're hanging it over the head of your partner or the relationship, like a mistletoe. Things from the past that we're holding on to. And so it may be something that has happened or something your partner said or how, it doesn't matter how big or small, right? It could be everything from infidelity to that one time when you called me a piece of shit during Thanksgiving. I'm still holding on to it. I'm still angry. Doesn't matter what it is, but if you are holding on to anything that is creating resentment, that is going to be a pretty big termite, a very hungry termite that may eat at your relationship. So before I move on, what do we do with this? What do we do when we have things that we're holding on to? Well, one, I also want to validate that it's hard to not hold on to things, especially when our partner has hurt us in some way or has betrayed us, right? I mean, the ultimate would be infidelity. Yeah, it's hard to let shit go. It's hard to forgive. It's hard to move on, to be the bigger person, to process, digest. It's really hard to not tie things to our worth. And this is actually why I think we hold on to things. Yes, the behavior or words hurt us, of course. And we may not have said anything because we're used to not rocking the boat. We grew up walking on eggshells and not being heard. But when we start tying things to worth, when we start tying someone's behavior to our value, our story, and all of that, it's really hard to let go, And so maybe this is the first step. I mean, after being aware. By the way, I might be speaking funny today because I don't know how this happened, but I have an insect bite on my tongue, and so there's a bump on my tongue. Maybe because I sleep with my mouth open, and I don't know, maybe a spider went. I don't know what went in there, but bit my tongue, and so I'm speaking like I have marbles in my mouth. I apologize. Being aware of what you're holding on to and why, and then asking yourself if you're tying this behavior or worth, or this behavior or what happened or the words to your worth, your value. And if you are, what does it look like to cut that cord, to not have that thing being tied to your worth? Because it's much easier to let go then, because it's when we make it about us that we grab and hold on to. If we can actually create distance and not make it about us, and it's more about the other person, where they're at in their lives, or what they're going through, what their struggle is, or maybe it was a reaction, it's so much easier to let go, So things that you're holding on to, understanding, processing that it's not tied to you, your story, your worth. And then consciously, actively, intentionally, and daily making an effort to let go of that. And that might look like forgiveness. That might look like, I don't know what that looks like for you. But if you don't, and you have a pattern of constantly bringing that shit up during fights or hanging that over your partner's head, it's going to be a termite. It's going to be a hungry termite that is... Speaking of termites, I'm scratching my leg right now because I have not termites, but mosquitoes, very hungry mosquitoes here in Altadena, my garage, eating me alive. It's funny, I'm talking about termites eating houses, and as I'm talking about this, I literally feel insects eating me. I'm having a very surreal experience right now. Okay, so that would be one. Two, it's very simple. It's people never say I'm sorry. This happens all the time. I'm guilty of this. When you don't actually say the words "I'm sorry," usually people say "but" or well, a lot of defending. But if you don't have the ability to apologize, to just say I'm sorry. You don't have to agree, but I'm sorry this hurt you. I'm sorry you went through this. Um, if that is not happening in the relationship, then that's a big termite. That is a termite that is eating away, because there's going to be conflict. It's not about how many times we fight, it's about how we fight. And if you are never apologizing, or your partner is never apologizing by taking some ownership and saying the words "I'm sorry," it's just a matter of time, before the whole house of cards comes crumbling down. So that's my opinion. You got to say you're sorry, and you got to mean it. You got to actually say the words "I'm sorry." Number 3. Hey, by the way, since I am also doing an Instagram Live, in the audience here, what are some relationship termites in your opinion, from your experience? What are some things in relationships that if you don't extinguish these, they become viruses, they become termites that eat away? So while I wait for some of you guys to tell me what they are, I will get into my third termite. And this one, I think I'm thinking about, because I'm picking which one I should actually say is my third. In the audience, resentment, which I talked about. Someone says confusion and challenge interrelated. Jealousy. I agree with you. That's a big termite. I don't communicate my feelings enough, and then shit blows up. Yes. So non-communication, definitely a termite. That's a huge one, right? If people are loving around each other, not talking about how they feel, what they need, all that stuff, that's going to eat away at the foundation of the relationship. Someone says hurt. Someone says communication had been the biggest problem. Yeah, so unmet expectations. Yes. You know what I'm going to say number 3 is? I'm going to say it is, mind reading. That's a good one. Anxious with an avoidant communication. The shutdown is versus probing. Being scared to be honest. Past trauma. Not standing firm in your own boundaries to keep space. That's a great one. Shutting down a conversation and talking over. Holding grudges. You know what I'm going to say is number 3? Expectation. Expectation in relationships, I have learned, can definitely eat away at your problem, or eat away at your problem, can eat away at your relationship. So there are some things that we should expect from our partner. I believe this. We should expect honesty. We should, if you're in a monogamous relationship, we should expect someone to be faithful. We should expect someone to show up as authentic and honest as possible. We should expect people to return our text. We should expect, if I'm on the side of the road with a flat tire and I call my partner, if she answers, I should kind of expect her to help me. So there are some expectations. But it's when we place expectations that trace more of our blueprint, how we want to be loved, how we define love. If we expect that from our partner and we don't get that, and then suddenly we are disappointed, or we pull back, or we are distant. I've been guilty of this, of course. This is a termite. So the pattern, right? The pattern of having expectations. And there's a difference between. Did you hear my voice just go up like Jay Leno's? It happens all the time. I don't know why. It goes up like 4 octaves. It's like, huh? Yeah, it sounded like Jay Leno for a second. Anyway, there's a difference between expectations and non-negotiables, right? We should all have non-negotiables in relationships. We should all have one non-negotiable at least, and that's not to be in an abusive relationship. But an expectation is like, here's how I expect you to here's how I expect you to do the chores. Here's how I expect you to love me. Here's how I expect you to touch me. Here's how I expect you to welcome me. Here's how I expect you to, whatever, right? You fill in the blank. And that expectation, if unmet, then having consequences, right? And then you falling off that steep cliff. And then suddenly there's hurt feelings, there's confusion, there's anger, there's resentment or whatever. So having expectations, I don't know why I'm doing this. Having expectations, if you're listening, I have this little 4-inch wire that I'm slapping my Instagram audience with. Having expectations definitely can be a termite. That doesn't mean to not have non-negotiables. That doesn't mean you're compromising self. It just means to try to love without, and listen, it's fucking hard to do, but try to love without expecting. It's a trap. It's a trap that I have fallen into, continue to fall into, A few more termites. Anyone else in the audience here? Someone said jealousy earlier, and that is definitely a termite. Especially, I know people who like get mad if their partner, I don't know, find someone attractive, for example, or has a celebrity crush, or maybe they follow someone who's attractive commercially or something. And listen, we're all human. We're going to be attracted to other humans. To be jealous about that, it's not so much the jealous feeling, it's the jealous behavior, right? That is what is the termite. We all have feelings. We all can feel jealous. We all can, it's a normal human feeling, but it's the behavior. So whether it's controlling or possessive, it's the behavior that stems from jealousy and insecurity that can definitely be the termite. Anyway, thanks for listening. And let's do some housekeeping real quick. I get a lot of questions. So on my podcast, emails, DMs, I get too many questions. I don't have enough time to answer these questions. So I created this AI, and it's pulling from all my books, my 700 podcast episodes, and my 5,000 plus articles. And so it's a collection of my life work, all powered into AI. And so you could ask it questions, and it'll also give you sources of where that answer is coming from. And it's not a subscription, because I know there are way too many things that you subscribe to. It is a one-time fee. It's super inexpensive. It's like $19. So if you're willing to forego a cheeseburger, because that's what they cost these days, you could have me in your back pocket 24/7 and ask me embarrassing questions and things that that I may not have time to get to, and you will get instant replies from all of my life work. So check that out. Just go to at the Angry Therapist on Instagram and tap my bio link, and you will see it there front and center. And also, Miserable Fucks Retreat. I've been it's my new love. I've been running these little retreats up in Idlewild, and it reminds me of why I started this business, because we could all drift. And if you're like me and you are looking into a camera or talking into a microphone for most of your days, you can forget why you started this journey. And so these intimate retreats have been really meaningful for me, and I do them almost once a month. So check those out. Would love to meet you in person, give you a chest bump, hold your hand as you plunge in ice, and we could both sip really good coffee together. All right. Thank you for listening. Be well.